Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryesh Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Vagarthaviva Sampriktau Vagartha Pratipattaye Jagatah Pitaro Vande Parvati Parameshwarau Yenakshara Samhamnayam अधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम्। Anything which is unclear till now? Anyone wants to ask? Okay, we'll go forward. So last time we saw a few concepts. What is Thanivat Bhava? What is Asiddhatvam? Right? So Sthanivat Bhava means what? Even though a Sthani has been replaced by an Adesha, whatever is retained will retain certain, whatever is replaced will retain the characteristics of what was replaced. So generally, if what is replaced, the characters, the al vidhi is not allowed generally. Sthanivat bhavaha anal vidhau. So any letters itself change, Sthanivat bhava normally is not retained. But there are exceptions to allow that also. Okay. And what is Asiddhatvam? We saw certain sutras, their work will not be seen by other sutras. General concept of Asiddhatvam. So from the work of the last 3 quarters of the Ashtadhyayi, which is called Tripadi, three padas, Tripadi, is not going to be visible to the 7 chapters plus 1 pada of the 8th chapter. Sapada Saptadhyayi. Sapada. Padena saha. Saptadhyaya plus 1 pada. That is Sapada Saptadhyaya. And what is the 3 quarters in the end? Tripada. Pada means a quarter. So the names are Tripadi and Sapada Saptadhyaya. Okay. So whatever happens in the Sapada Saptadhyaya is visible to Tripadi. But what happens in Tripadi is not necessarily visible to sutras in the Sapada Saptadhyayi. But there are exceptions. If there is something in the Sapada, in the Tripadi, some action, and there is something which depends on those actions in the first 7 1/4, then even though the rule is it should not be visible, Panini has written the sutra, means even though generally it's not visible, it will be visible. Like this, there are some exceptions. And within the Tripadi, the work of the later sutras is not visible to the preceding sutras. Okay. So this is the general idea of the Asiddhatva. We will see more as we go. Just some ideas. So like building corners that you have in your mind now. Right. So we have seen the workings in the 10th gana a little. So we begin with a dhatu. We add a nich pratyaya. That nich pratyaya can bring about a vriddhi of the final ach, or it can bring about the vriddhi of the penultimate at, upadha at, or it can bring about guna to the penultimate ik, right? And then you get a new dhatu. That new dhatu you have to work again and start all over to do the prakriya. This we have seen, right? So now There is this book called Dhatupatha. And this Dhatupatha is what? Dhatunam Patha, reading of dhatus. That's all it is, really. But there can be something more in it. And there is something more in it. So the Dhatupatha is an appendage, is an appendix to the Ashtadhyayi. Ashtadhyayi is called Sutra Patha because they're all sutras. So Sutra Patha is the heart. It needs certain data for driving its engines. One of the data is what? Dhatupatha. Another engine is what? Gana Patha. Gana means a group. Even dhatus are a group, but it's a very big group and it has been given a separate space. It's called Dhatupatha. Otherwise, you could have called it Ganapatha also. Ganas are several groups and they may be totally unrelated. Why the grouping is done that way from your perspective or mine? It's like enumerated data types in computers. So you decide these are enumerated and you put them together. That's it. Right? So that is Ganapatha. Then you have Linga Anushasanam. How to determine lingas? This is actually in the language only, but there is a thing called Linga Anushasanam. Then there is something called, the shiksha, how to pronounce things. Paniniya Shiksha Patha is there. So all these are what? Appendix. So sutras are kept small. It doesn't mean sutras are totally self-contained because they need this data to drive the engine. And the data is kept separate. So what happens? The rules are small and data is kept separately. It's such a neat division, keep rules and data separate. So software engineers today can learn a lot from what Panini did. He did it long ago. His head is so clear. So you separate the two. All right. So now this dhatupatha, I wanted you to give some idea of it. It's not just reading of dhatus. And even within that reading, there are certain things like what? See, any dhatu to be pronounced, any word, any letter to be pronounced should have minimum what? One ach. Without a vowel, you can't pronounce anything. Now, the vowel can be part of the dhatu. Vowel can be in its letter. Right? So, and any vowel can have swaras. Udatta, anudatta, swarita. These swaras are possible. Therefore, Panini will overload. Everything is available for loading, So you have a dhatu patha, you have a vowel, you load it. Make it udatta, anudatta, or swarita. Will accomplish something. Right? Which vowel use in its letter? See, the dhatu itself is like if you say labh. Dhatu content is labh, to gain. But how will Panini present the dhatu? To labhash. Dhatu is kr, to do. How will he present it? To kriñ karane. So this extra letters he adds must have meaning. And they will always have purpose. And therefore, this dhatu patha is dhatu which is packaged by Panini for his purposes. There are other dhatu pathas also which do not follow these conventions. Since Panini is the one who is writing an appendix, he takes the dhatus and he embellishes them as he needs them. Therefore, it's an embellished list of dhatus. And the sequence of dhatus also is important. It's not random. So he will sequence them in some basis. And many times it will be what? He will put many parasmaipada dhatus together. Then he'll put many atmanepadas together. Then again parasmaipada will come. Then again atmanepada. Some arrangement will be there. We may not see it all. And within dhatupatha, there can be dhatus, the gana, I told it's a group. Main groups are what? Just a starting point. Who are the first gana? Then where does second gana begin? Look for the dhatu ad. Wherever in Panini's dhatupatha the dhatu ad bhakshane comes, that's where second gana begins. So what you have to just say, you just have to give the index, starting point, adadi. Then when is the third gana? Gosyadi. Fourth gana, divadi. First dhatu is mentioned. And people had the entire dhatupatha in their head. Therefore, they know where to go. Right? And within a dhatu, you can have upaganas. Means smaller groupings of dhatus. This is apart from using the loading, the swara, etc. And not only that, when he makes it letters, the it letters also should be having a purpose. So dukrinj karne tu has to have a purpose. That krinya has to have a purpose. So each part he has to use. Right? So in his dhatupatha, he will read some of these things. He will say, these are all, you know, uh, anudatta, they're anudatta or swarita. He'll say these are parasmaipada, these are atmanepada. Like this, there'll be a lot of readings. And as I said, he will make subgroups and he'll say this from here to here will be called puadi. This to this will be called luadi. And sometimes the group will be made with sutras. Means there will be some things which are kept, some dhatus are added in a group. Then somewhere he will say, this also you add to that, that also you add to that group. And he will further say, anything which has this it letter, you add to that group. Panini is king. He will do whatever he needs. He assumes you have everything in your head anyway. So in this way, the dhatus are organized. So let me try to show you now what happens with dhatupatha in 10th gana related. Okay. Okay. So now this is the dhatupatha. Okay. I have shared this link with you long ago. Now I'm just showing you here the dhatupatha itself. So let us say now we go to, it begins with bhuadi. You can see atatanadayaha means what? Eighth gana. Tanadi is beginning. There what? Sanu vistare, shanu dane, shanu himsayam, shinucha. Shinucha means what? Cha means shinu also has the meaning of himsayam. Why repeat himsayam? Cut short. Renu gatau, trinu adane, trinu deeptau, iti tanadayaha, sattaha, paritetaha. See that now? So this may or may not have been there in the original patha because people already know this for us. But now you will see it editorially. What is it? These are tanadi. This is the whole list of these tanadis. In that, what are they? Udatta and swarita ita. Swara of the vowel is udatta, but the it letter is swarita. Two vowels. It letter and regular vowel in dhatu. Saying what is swara of both. Right? Then you can say Vanu yachane ayam chandramate parasmaipadi. In the view of one grammarian, it is parasmaipadi. It is not whatever it is else. Otherwise, manu avabodhane iti anudattau udattetau. So these two are having udatta anudatta. Like this, he will mention what are they. And then what? To cringe karane anudatta ubhayato bhashaha means what? It is anudatta, that kr, and it is both parasmaipada and atmanepada. Ubhayato bhasha. Ubhaya means both. Then vrit. Vrit means end. Sometimes they'll say vrittaha. It's done. So means what? Iti u vikaranaha tanadayaha. These are all may or may not be in the original dhatupatha. Sometimes it's all editorial comments added, or it can be there. Okay. Then what? So this is what eighth gana. Ninth has to begin. Atha kriyadayaha. Atha means begins. Then what? Krinj karane dravya vinimaye. Krinj tarpane kantau. There are two meanings of dhatu. Shrinj pake. Like this you have, right? And then you will find here what? You find iti luadayaha. Vadayascha. So you have to now understand what is luadayaha, luadi. You have to go and find where is lu now, right? And then based on that, you know that the group lu will end here. So like this, he will form subgroups. And each group is there for a purpose. There is some sutra or something to use that group's name. Every name, every sangya is meant to be used. Okay. So like this is the ninth gana. Okay. I would actually be more happier to share with you the book itself, which is nicer to look at and easier to read. But this is the best I could find right now on the web. Okay. So see, bhi, bhaye, but some people also have bharana ityeke. Some people think it's bharane, meaning of filling up. So like this, wherever changes are, he will mention. Right? So second. Okay. Yeah. See what happened here. I went down here, right? Shrinj pake. This is third dhatu in ninth kana. Then you come here, you find many more dhatus. Mean himsayam, shinj bandhane. And here you'll find this poon pavane. Do you see that? Are you able to see this? Poon pavane. And he says, from here begins what? Vadayaha. So Puadi means from here it has to go on. Until where? Till it says Vrittaha, should say. Similarly, Lunj Chedane begins here. Therefore, Luadayaha, another group. Lu Adi Eshamte. So now Lu Adi is included in Puadi. They will run concurrently for a while. Okay. So all these belong to that. And then you come back here, it tells you where it ends. Right? Iti Luadaya Puadayascha. And then what he'll say? See, now if you see Poonj Pavane, what does it mean? Poonj to purify. The Gana Vikarana is Shna. Gana Vikarana is Shna. What kind of pratyaya is Shna? You don't forget. I keep reminding you, okay? Sardhatuka or Adhatuka?
Sarvadhatuka.
Sardhatuka. Good. What kind of Sardhatuka? Apit or Pit?
Apit.
Apit Sardhatuka. Therefore, what? Equivalent to what? Nyat. Therefore, what? Cannot cause Gunavriddhi. Now you have Poo. Dhatu is Poonj. Poo plus Shna plus Sip. What will happen? Get Poo Na Tip. Are you able to visualize it? It would become what? Punati. Correct? But the word is what? Punati. You heard that? Punati. Why Punati? Pwadinam Hrasvaha. One sutra. Pwadinam Hrasvaha. Under certain conditions. So what should you know now? You should know why Pu is becoming Pu. Must be some rule. But you look for Dhatu, you won't find. You should know Pwadi. Whole group, not just one. Pu at least first one you might guess. What about in between? Therefore, Pwadi will take response to certain conditions. For Luadi, something will happen. Understand how the grouping works. So you make a group in the dhatupatha and use it in the sutrapatha. So like this, there are multiple things done within the dhatupatha. Not that we will know all of this, but at least we will have an idea. Because I feel these are important things to know at some level. Okay. Let's go back now. You're seeing my dhatupatha?
Yes, Swamiji.
Yeah, good. Okay. So now this is the ninth gana. Why I showed you ninth gana? Because they have these extra groupings. Otherwise, I could not have shown you the extra groupings. 10th gana doesn't have these as much. Now it begins here. What is it? Athachuradayah. Begins with what? Prasteye, chitismrityam, yatri sankutane, etc. Whole list of dhatus going on here. All right. So then you will find that these dhatus are going on fine. Give me 1 second. You will suddenly find one thing here. Atha jnapadayah mitaha. In general, if you heard the word myth, what will you understand? If I say tit, what do you understand? Takara is it in which? Myth means what? Makara is it in which? Now, jnapa, is there a makara in there anywhere? No, but he's saying atha jnapadayah mitaha. He is he is deeming it to be myth. What will you do with myth? I will tell you something later. Don't worry. Elsewhere, he says ghatadayah mitaha in first gana. So it's not only within one gana. In first gana, he will say ghatadayah myth. And he will say wherever you have makara as it letter in a dhatu, take that also as myth. Okay. So now what do you do with myth? Mitam rasvaha. One rule he will give somewhere. What is the use? When you try to make it positive, ghata positive, you will expect ghatayati. You would expect that based on what you know today. But it is ghatayati. Ghatayati. Harihara vidhe vibheda bhavan. Aghatita ghatana patiya maya. You heard that? Maya panchakam. Ghatayati. Why ghatayati? Why not ghatayati? Mitam prasvaha. How ghat is myth? Yeah, it's ghatadaya myth. Like this dhatupatha with the. So unless we know a lot of things, sutras may not make sense all the time. But you at least have an idea. Now what am I telling you? Kam, sham, makara where there it. Take them to be myth. Okay? If you know that, then it won't be gamayati, it will be what? Gamayati, shamayati, damayati. For us, we are practical. What you can remember, you keep in your head. Can't remember whole dhatupatha, okay? But this much you can know. So same way, jnapayati. Therefore, jnapadayah myth. Okay? So he does that here. Then, in this 10th gana, for some reason, you know, there are places where the niche may or may not be added. May not be added. Okay? So now, that is also indicated in some places by saying something in the dhatupatha. And here, see, he will say something like, you know, uh, he will have some statement like this. Iti aksmiyaha dataha dattetaha. There's a group called kusma. It should not be kutsa, it should be kusma. Akuts kusmadi kusmiyaha. Akusma means what? Up to this kusma, starting with some dhatu. They will all take only Atmanepada. How do you know? You have to know dhatupatha a little bit. Otherwise, you won't. And then, okay, you see this now. Aswadaha sakarmakat. One sutra. This is called a Dhatu Sutra, Dhatupatha Sutra. What does it mean? From here up to the Dhatu Swad in this list, they will take nich only if the Dhatu is sakarmaka. If it's sakarmaka, it won't take. So you'll get two forms now. If it's sakarmaka, it will take nich. If it's not sakarmaka, it won't take nich. So you will find several dhatus in Gana where you will find two forms, with nich, without nich. Why? Don't break your head. Not worth the trouble unless you want. But you will find a lot of answers in dhatu. Okay. So there is one more group. See, adhrishadva. See this sutra here? Are you able to read it? Adhrishadva. So beginning from this 338 yuj up to dhrish dhatu, what is the va niche that you add by 3125 is optional. Is optional. You may add, you may not add. So how many forms will you get now again? Forms. Both have the same meaning. But for some reason, probably because the language find two forms, Panin said, why break my head and put in two ganas, etc. Put it all in 10th gana and call them, put them in one subgroup called Ad from Yuj to Dhrish. How do I say what's the group? Starting here, he says Adrishatva. So beginning from here up to Yuj, you make it optional niche. That's all he wants to say. Right? So with one line, he has done his job in Dhatupatha. So this goes on. This comes to this Grish Prasahane, and it ends with Ityadrishiya. Now you know the dhatus beginning with 10,338 up to 10,388. 50 dhatus are what? Optional niche. Right? Then he comes up with another subgroup. It's called Atha Adanta. What does it mean? What is At? Short. Now he is listing dhatu which end with A. Katha Vakya Prabandhe Vakya Prabandhane Vara Ipsayam Gana Sankhyaane Shatha Vata Samyagava Bhashane Pata Vata Granthe Raha Tyage Rang Gatau, like this. He is listing. Now, what is the speciality of these dhatus? These have an ending a. These dhatus have a in the end. That is not it. It is not anunasika. It is sitting there. See, chura also is chura. Churasteye, but there is it. What is dhatu? Chur. But when you say katha, it is not katha. Dhatu is katha. Therefore, now, what will you do with katha? It's ending in a final a. What will you do? Do you know the form? What is the form? Chur is chorayati. Right? What is katha? Kathayati. It is kathayati. Sutras won't directly give this result unless you know something more. Now, some more sutras have to come in. So this group of dhatus beginning with katha up to the end of 10th gana means all in the end of the gana. These dhatus are called kathadi. Why? They all end with at. Adantaha dhatava. Okay. Now there's a rule that if an ardhataka pratyaya follows an adanta dhatu, the should be dropped. Should be dropped. What will happen now? Katha plus nich. Is nich ardhatuka or not? You have to know. Otherwise, you are in trouble. So what will happen to katha now? It becomes kath. Kath plus nich. Very nice. What can you do now? Now what will you do? What is the final letter? Akara. Can it take vriddhi? No. What is the penultimate? Up. Can it take vriddhi? Should take. Should become what? Kathi. Then kathayati should get, but it is not allowed. That's not the form. Not allowed means that's not the form in the language. Therefore, what happens now? This lopa of at, although it goes, it it is as though there when the 72115 tries to apply. When 72115 tries to apply, that a which you drop by ato lopaha is still as sitting there. This is called sthanivat bhava. Although the a is dropped, the a will be seen by the next sutra. Therefore, when it tries to see the penultimate short a, it will say no, penultimate is thakara. Katha only it will say. It won't see katha. This is how sthanivat bhava is used. See, I hope you're not getting overwhelmed by all this. You know, main thing I want you to understand is there are a bunch of dhatus in the 10th gana beginning with katha at the end of the 10th gana, which we will call kathadi, and there you know it ends in a. This is the a, but will not become, will not take vriddhi of the a after before the final consonant. That much form will be kathayati, ganayati, patayati, etc. This much, if you know, our job is done for now. But you are interested in knowing more, I give you the reasons. What? One lopa happens, but that lopa is thanivat. Because any adesha is thanivat. So what is the adesha you did? Lopa. There is no a anymore. But that a which dropped was the sthani and is as sitting there. The next fellow comes and he says, oh, a is still there. This is called fudging around. Okay. So if you recall, we didn't go over it in detail, but we will see now. So we started with 58 probably. Okay, so we saw this. Sthanivat adesha analvidhau. What I briefly discussed with. Then the next one is what? Achaha parasmin purvavidhau. This is the paribhasha. This is the paribhasha we are applying now. And what does it say? Achaha varnasya sthane kriyamaneshasya adeshasya निमित्तं परः अस्ति चेत् स्थानिनः पूर्वपदार्थस्य एकवर्णाश्रितेषु कार्येषु सः आदेशः भवति. I don't want to break your head over all this, okay? But what is it basically saying is that even though something was dropped, you know, and it's an al, it's a character. In the previous sutra, we could not have said sthanivat. But achaha, even though an ach is there, it is sthanivat. Okay. When there is a vidhi which is trying to act on a position which is prior to what was the sthani. So it's a little complicated, okay? But the whole idea is katha and you add nich, it becomes kath. But when the next sutra 72115 comes, it will still see what? Katha. Therefore, it will not prove the Dhi of the A. You will get Kathayati. Is this somewhat understood? Or is it too hard? I mean, as I said, the main idea is not trying to complicate your life. I don't want to complicate it. But I want you to know there's a variation within the 10th gana. There are some which will take niche optionally. There are some which will take niche all right. But even though it's ending in a R drops and is seen by the next, giving you the form Kathayati. Shur becomes Chorayati, you know. And if I have some causative of some other dhatu, like, chal, chal becomes Chalayati. But Kath will become Kathayati, will not become Kathayati. Whether it's causative or normal 10th gana, Kathayati. That is the extra. You keep in view. Okay. So this is to give you an idea that we are trying to be very I'm trying to cover important things without getting too much detail. So you have an idea, but you don't have to break your head. And if you want to break your head later, you have the wherewithal to start breaking your head when you want to. But right now, my purpose is what? To just give you enough to say, Kathayati, how did it come? You understand how there's some rule it comes. Okay, good enough. Once you got Kathayati, all other forms you can get anyway. Okay. So this is what, tends to happen. So that niche addition is important. If you go, we can look at it quickly. For now, I will say I want to look at Katha. Sorry, not Tatha, Katha. What do you find now? Katha Vakya Prabandhe. Look at this. Kathayati. What happens here? Katha Vakya Prabandhe. Katha plus niche. Mark, the A is sitting here, okay? A is sitting here. Then what happens? Ato lopaha. Ataha lopaha. What becomes Katha? All right. Now, what he doesn't tell you is why don't you now apply 72115? It's not applied, so he won't mention it. But why did it not apply? That's because of the Sthaniyodha. And therefore, he will not here talk about what 72115 should have come here and sit in the next step. It didn't come. So sometimes in these derivations that you see, you may not see why something is there, why something is not there. This is not entirely clear in all manners. Don't rely everything Ashtadhyayi will tell you it's not true. It tells you what it can, but will not understand everything with just that. And sometimes it has more details than we need. But the fact is, this niche will cause the earth to go. And though the is gone, this will be seen by 72115, and therefore it will not cause the. Okay. Yes, Harsha.
Swamiji, is the rule that you're referring to Atha Upadharayaha?
Yes. 72115 dhatupatha. Correct. Correct.
I, I think it's 72116, Swamiji.
Oh, sorry, that's 115. Okay. Yeah. Correct. Fair enough. Achonyati is 115. Correct. 116. You're right. 115 is Chonyati. Correct. Mrijair Vruddhi Achonyati. Correct. Then you will get the Atopudhaya. Okay. So if you go in the dhatupatha and add a filter, add it as Churadi, what will you find now? If you click here, all dhatus are sitting here. All right. And here, the order is the order in the Kaumdi, how they are listed in the Kaumdi. And if you go towards the end, you will find the Katha. Okay. So you will have to traverse down a long way and find, if I go to the very end, okay. See this, you can see all these of that kind. Rasa, Vyaya, Cheda, Chada, Dukha. See Sukhayati, Khayati. You find all these. Dandayati, Andhayati. How? Why not something else? That is why we need to understand Kathadigana has got a slightly different way of thinking. That much the purpose of bringing it. So you can see so many dhatus are sitting here. We have not still found Katha here. It should come up. See Rachayati, Gadayati. You heard these for sure. I think it's about to come probably. See, Katha begins here. So from 1852, if you go in this sequence, each of them you will find is the same story. Go to Gana, you will find Ganayati, not Ganayati. Racha, Rachayati. Like this, every dhat, that section will be with this feature. Okay. So it's obviously impossible that you will know all the things, and because you have to now know not just dhatupatha, you have to know the sequence. After katha, what comes? Or you have to be able to chant katha like this, racha. You don't do all that. Therefore, understand within 10th kana, there's a flavor. There are some flavors. This is one important flavor. If the dhatu is ending in a, this is what will happen. Okay? Clear so far? All right. So, see, we have not looked at individual rules for each gana, but at least right now, what we have done so far, we will do several of the forms for 1, 4, 6, 10. And even for the remaining ganas, at least third person singular you can do. That far we have come. There are specific rules for fifth gana, ninth gana, sixth gana, etc., which maybe we'll look sometime, but not right now. Okay. So that's where I want to leave this thing with what we've done so far. I want to connect it and leave it there. All right. In the context, I want to also say to you that if we go to the Ashtadhyayi, I told you there are many important adhikaras. Adhikara means what? A topic. So one of the adhikaras is, let me see if I can put this. Okay. Are you able to see the Ashtadhyayi?
Yes, Swamiji.
Good. Okay. I have opened up 131. Pada is Prathama Adhyaya is Tritiya Pada. Now, here we have seen we have seen all these 132, 133, 134, 135, 136, right? I hope you remember. Tasya it. And then this Yatha Sankhya Manudesha Samanam means when you have equal number of Sthani and Adesha, they are respectively done. This also we have seen in the context of Eshavayavayavaha. Now, there's a big adhikara here called Atmanepada Prakaranam. From 1312, it goes up to, the word Atmanepada goes up to 77. Okay? What does it mean? It means here that when should a dhatu take Atmanepada? Is the question. Okay? So, when should a dhatu take Atmanepada? That question is being answered here in a way in this section. So, this section will determine when parasmaipada comes and when Atmanepada will come. Second objection. Yeah. See, the point is this. Now, in this particular dhatupatha, it is showing 13 as the anuvritti for the word dhatavaha. But in the sutrapatha I have, it shows clearly this will go up to 93. 1393. And what is 1393? If you go and look, what will you find? It is the last sutra. It is the last sutra, which means the word dhatavaha in this 131 has a range all the way in this pada. Whole way it has. And now we are saying which dhatus should take Atmanepada? Method. Which dhatus should take Atmanepada under what conditions, if necessary? And then we will say, whatever doesn't take Atmanepada, what will it do? It will take parasmaipada. Okay? But sometimes a dhatu can take Atmanepada and parasmaipada. There is no such real thing called Bhayapada. It's really they able to take both. We call them Abhayapada, that's all. That also is subject matter of this. So if you go from 1312 to 1393, then you should know when Atmanepada will come, when Parasmaipada will come. One section. It's called adhikara. Atmanepada adhikara. Okay. So now, what is the most common thing? See, there are 1312 to 1393. How many sutras? Almost 80 sutras. Okay. Don't worry about 80 sutras. You only know 4 or 5, good job will get done. The rest is all detail. See, if you want to know every detail, see, G dhatu. G dhatu. What is it? Parasmaipada or Atmanepada? As you know it. It's not an uncommon dhatu, you know it. Jayati or Jayate? Parasmaipada. Normal is Parasmaipada. Jayati, Jayataha, Jayanti. Right? But if you add para, upasarga, what will happen? Para Jayate, you will get. Now, this kind of tweaking, for some upasarga, it will become parasmaipada. For some, it will become atmanepada. This kind of tweaking, you want to know, everything is sitting here in that section. But you will have to become an expert of the section to know each rule. Get it? But what I'm saying is, you have a doubt about pada, parasmaipada, atmanepada. Where should you look? Go to the adhikara. Go to the adhikara, begin with 1312. And try to, break your head a little there. You might figure something out. You may not. But the more you know, the more likely you will be able to put your finger somewhere. Or you will know there must be Vartika somewhere in that section. No, because it's not just Sutra. There are Vartikas. And there are something else sometimes. So the point is, I'm just saying, but a good number of things you will find concentrated in that section. Why I decided to mention this Parasmaipada, Atmanepada, because I showed you in the Dhatupatha how he says these are Atmanepada, these are Parasmaipada. It converges back here into this section. Let's go back there now. So now, Anudatta Nita Atmane Padam, first sutra. Anudatta Nita Atmane Padam 1312. All right. So now, let us say we go here. What is the sutra we're interested in? 1, 3, 12. Right? What is the padacheda? Anudatta gnetaha Atmanepadam. And what is the case here? Mark that. Panchami. Okay. So if you took dhatu anuvritti, you will get what? After a dhatu in the upadesha. See, here he did not include dhatu in the anuvritti. You will get after the dhatu what? What kind of a dhatu? Anudatta gnetaha. What does it mean? Yasmin dhatau nakaraha uta anudatta swaraha itsanyakaha. So either nga is an it letter or there is an anunasika vowel, which is it letter, which has the anudatta swara. If one of these two conditions are satisfied, either nakara is it or it has got anudatta vowel as an it letter, then what will happen? It will take Atmanepada pratyaya. Swamiji, what is the use of this? Do I know anudatta? You may not know. But nakara, you know. Wherever you find nga as it letter in a dhatu, unless there's an exception, it will take what? Atmanepada. Not just this dhatu. You add a pratyaya young. You remember young? We talked about young when we were old. Young. What is young? Young is intensive, repetitive. Now young ends in what? Nga. Therefore, a yanganta dhatu will also take Atmanepada. There's a pratyaya called kyang that will also cause Atmanepada. Now what happened? Any sanadhyanta dhatu which has a nakara as an it letter, it will take Atmanepada. Rule. Life becomes easy. Don't have to break my head every time. You know? You go look in your dhatupatha, you will find so many nakara. Use the filters in that adhyay. You will find so many nga as it. Unless there's an exception, they will all have what? Atmanepada endings. Okay? This is the first rule here. Anudattangita Atmanepadam. I go to the next rule. What does it say? Bhavakarmanoho Atmanepadam. Atmanepadam is anuvritti, understand? Bhavakarmanoho Atmanepadam. What does it mean? Bhave prayoge, karmani prayoge cha dhatoho Atmanepada pratyayaha bhavanti. Does this ring a bell somewhere now? What we have been doing all the time? I've told you what? Anytime you have bhava or karmani, don't worry which dhatu, don't worry which gana, derived dhatu, non-derived dhatu, causative dhatu, sananta dhatu, any dhatu. You want karmani bhave prayoga, what should you do? Blind. Atmanepada. Why? One rule. Bhava karmanoho. Very important rule. Bhava karmanoho Atmanepadam. Okay? Did it make sense? This you should be able to follow. This is not complicated. All of you are okay? So if you hesitate and don't ask, you will be losers. So if you are not clear, ask. I prefer you ask now rather than break your head after 2 weeks and ask me, Swami, nothing is clear now. I'm forgetting everything. That won't help. Right now you ask. That's much better. Bhava karmano. When bhava or karma is your vivaksha, what pratyaya should come after the dhatu? Atmanepada. And this will also apply when you're doing the shatra and shanach. Same story. Bhava karma will give shanach. That's all. So this is one more important rule. Bhava karmanoho. Then what is the next rule? We don't worry about this. Kartari karma vyatihare. We don't have to worry about it right now. We'll leave it. Now you will find there's something else. right? So he gave one rule, karma vyatihare. So there is something called karma vyatihara. See, when the duty of one person is carried out by another, we refer to as vyatihara. Okay. So in such a case, you have to use Atmanepada. But there's an exception to it. That is the next rule. Like this, there are rules and rules. Doing what? Telling you when Atmanepada will come, when it won't come. Okay. So, okay. So what did we find here now? We saw bhava karmanoho, karma vyatihare. Now, this said Atmanepada will come. Then na tells you what? That Atmanepada will not come. Negation. One utsarga, one apavada. Up to where? 16. We're not looking at the rules. Okay. Now you see this here. Pari vyavebhyah kriyah vi parabhyam jehe. You see this? Vi parabhyam jehe. What does it mean? What do you think it will mean? We'll go and see. 1319. Okay. Give me a second. Do you see this? No, we probably don't. Okay, restart it. Sure. You see Ashtadhyay now?
Yes, Swamiji.
Okay. See this now. Vi parabhyam Panchami. After Jehe. What is Jehe? J means Ji dhatu. Panchami. Atmanepadam. This is what I told you about. If you have Vijaya or Parajaya, then parasmaipada won't come. What will come? Atmanepada will come. When any of the upasargas, V or Para, is attached to G, get the pratyas of Atmanepada. So you understand what's going on? Previous sutra will tell you similarly what? Pari vi ava for Kri dhatu will take Atmanepada. So like this, we have the capacity to quickly see what goes on. Do you see Ashtadhyay of the Ashtadhyay right now? Yes?
Yes.
Good. Okay. So like this, you find so many rules here. When should? You can see now it's going down to individual dhatu, what pratyas? What happens with stha dhatu? What happens with kri dhatu? You know? Then what happened with terms of some akarmaka dhatus, tap dhatu, yam dhatu, han dhatu, specific cases. Let them be. We're not interested in knowing all of them, okay? Let them be happily there. Then you see, do you remember our problem sometimes? Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu. What is bhunaktu? Bhuj dhatu. Okay. So if you are looking at bhuj dhatu, let us go and see bhuj dhatu for a minute here. You see this? Bhuja palana abhyavaharayoho. That's the dhatu we're interested in. We go there. Do you see? Bhunakti is Atmanepada. Bhunkte is what? Sorry, this is parasmaipada. This is Atmanepada. Correct? Are you with me so far? Now, if I say, show me information about this dhatu, what will it show? It says, it is parasmaipadi sakarmakaha. Is it sakarma? It is parasmaipadi. If it is parasmaipadi, then why do you get Atmanepada endings? Because the sutra says what? Pujo anavane. In a meaning of not protecting, you will get Atmanepada. You will get Atmanepada. So if the meaning of the dhatu is protecting, you will get parasmaipada. If the meaning is not protecting, you will get Atmanepada. Now you can see it's not just the form. It is, you have to know in which sense the dhatu is used. One is to protect, one is to eat, to enjoy. Depending on the meaning you will get. Whether it's parasmaipada or Atmanepada. So like this, every detail, when parasmaipada, when Atmanepada. That's the topic of this Atmanepada adhikara. Okay. So if you go and look, when there is a situation like, bhunakti, Bhashyakara will say bhujo navane, because he knows how to interpret it correctly, and somebody else will give a different meaning and happily pass, because we don't know better. We have to know when it will be parasmaipada, when it will be atmanepada. That's the detail, right? Let's go back. So now, go back to Ashtadhyayi. So I just showed you, I'm just giving a sampling, okay? We're not looking at everything here. Just looking at some sample. There is one sutra, 1362. What sanaha? Sun is what? Desiderative dhatu. Wish to do something. So now if you say gum, dhatu, what should Jigamisha take? You will take parasmapada or atmapada. New dhatu you get, Whenever you had a sun pratyaya, sanadi pratyaya, you get a dhatu. You remember that? Okay. So now you add a pratyaya, sun pratyaya. To much, what will you get? Moksha. Where to budh, you'll get bubutsa. Sorry. No, 1 second. Bubutsa, yeah, correct. Bubutsa. Right? So, like this, each one will give you. Now, which should you take? Parasmaipada or Atmanepada? Sutra is very simple. Purvavat sanaha. Whatever the dhatu was taking before you added sun, same you add after sun. Arrangement is that. Purvavat. So, if it is parasmaipada, you can make parasmaipada. If it's Atmanepada, you make Atmanepada. Okay? Okay. Then, now what happens? 1 second. Huh? Now you will find, give me a second. Yeah. You find now there's something here called Kartravipraye Kriyaphale. Kartravipraye, a condition. Svaritaha Nyataha Kartravipraye Kriyaphale. 1372. Let's go here and find 1372. What does it say? When a dhatu has got a swarita swara, or it has got nyakarang, jaja jaja nyanya as its letter, then it can take Atmanepada, but on a condition. What is that? Kartri abhipraye kriya phale. That I will explain now. Now, if the vivaksha of the person doing an action Vivaksha means a desire. His purpose is purely a result only for himself or herself. That is called kartravipraya kriyaphala. You want to get a result purely for yourself, nobody else. Puja Swamiji's example is you will have one little cooker called Annapurna cooker. How much food will it make? Only for you, not for a second person. So who are you cooking for? Me and myself. Another fellow will not get one morsel of food from me. This is called what? Pachati. No, pachate. Why? Kartrahipraye kriya phale. He is cooking, but for whose sake? Only for himself. If he gives it to his friend, then it is not only kriya kartravipraya. He has got somebody else. So if the outcome, the result of your action is intended only for the doer, then the dhatu can take Atmanepada, provided the dhatu is either swarita or nyakara as it. Like what? To kriñ, nyakara it. To kriñ. So when a priest does sankalpa, if he says, you know, Atmanepada means he's doing puja for himself, not for you. If he is doing for you, he should use what? Parasmaipada. You understand? But when you do at home for yourself, you can use Atmanepada. Two common examples for this Kartravyapraya Kriya Phala is either cooking or this puja. Very common examples. If you do for only yourself, Atmanepada. If you do for more than yourself, Parasmaipada. This is called what? Kartravyapraye Kriya Phale Atmanepadam. So if it's not Kartravyapraya, what? Sheshat Kartari Parasmaipadam. One sutra. Shesha. Whatever remaining is Parasmaipada. We are only telling you where Atmanepada will come because they are smaller in number. Wherever it is not Atmanepada, Parasmaipada will come. So Swamiji, it's Ubhayapada. Hey, it's okay. Don't worry about it. This is supposed to be, this is how Panin looks at it. But this whole Vyavastha of Parasmaipada, Atmanepada has been messed up. So when we do 10th gana, when we do causative, niche we add, which should it take? Parasmaipada or Atmanepada? Which one should it take? You will find that it take both. The rule is the same. Really, the rule is the same. What is the rule? What is the rule? Kartravyapraye kriya phale. Look at the next sutra. What does it say? No, not a good one. Not necessary for us. Nichascha. You see what it says? Kartravyapraye kriya phale iti vartate. Same anuvritti is there. Therefore, what does it mean? Nijanta Nijantat Atmanepadam bhavati kartravyapraye kriya phale katam karayate odanam pachayate. See, the fellow makes someone make a pot only for his sake. Then ghatam karayate. But if it is not for his sake, ghatam karayati. This is the rule. Entire causative, this is the rule. One rule. Nichascha Atmanepadam. Not always Atmanepadam. Kartravyapraye kriya phale Atmanepadam. Anyatha Parasmaipadam. This is strictly the rule, but generally not followed. But sometimes you will find this will be used in Bhashyam or Tika to make a point. Why they have used this Parasmaipada or Atmanepada? That will be a subtle point made. So realistically, there is no bhayapada. Some dhatus can take kartravyapraya kriya phale atmanepada. Other times they will take parasmaipada. Some others can take. They will say, okay, both dhatupatha will say something. But generally, I'm saying this is how the section is. So now see this. We saw this nichashcha. Then there are a few more. Okay. See, you can see. Why am I getting an echo? Somebody's speaker is on. Please switch off. Okay. Swaritah nyitah kartravyapraya kriyaphale. This kartravyapraya kriyaphale is going up to where? 77. So up to 77, this rule will apply. Then what happens? One big sutra. Sheshat kartari parasmaipadam. One sutra. What does it tell you now? Sheshat. What does Sheshat mean? Yasmat dhatoho atmane pratyayah navhitaah santi. For all dhatus for which atmane pratyaya was not ordained, for all of them, what will the pratyaya? Parasmaipada pratyayah bhavanti. That's the rule. So in one rule, now what have you done? First you say what all should take Atmanepada, and then in one moment you say what? Whatever is not ordained to take Atmanepada will take Parasmaipada. What do you have to worry now? So there are no specific rules for Parasmaipada till now. Now you will find rules for Parasmaipada. Why? Because there are some places where Atmanepada has been said, but there are exceptions where Parasmaipada has to come. That will be the next section. So what's the method? First list what all should take Atmanepada. Then say whatever is not Atmanepada will take Parasmaipada. And then cover exceptions to what has been said. 1312 to 1393 काम हो गया. What will take Parasmaipada? What will take Atmanepada is one adhikara. How should it be studied? Ideally, study the whole adhikara. Now there is no room for confusion. But what normally happens? Here doing one dhatu in first gana, you will come for G dhatu here. Then you will do 10th gana, you will come for nichashcha. By the time you came, you forgot about adhikara. This is how Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi or Siddhanta Kaumudi reading normally tends to happen. Wherein you will study one section and forget about it. You will study it, you will forget about it. And you have to memorize everything. We say what? Don't worry. Look at Ashtadhyaya and know it well. Anything to do with Atmanepada, Parasmaipada, where should you go? 1, 3, 12. Close your eyes and go there. And look. Life becomes easy. Yes, Bhuma.
Swami, I have a doubt in that Kartra Abhipraye Kriya Phale. In the context of puja, you said that when the priest does it, it should be Parasmaipadi.
Has to be.
And can you just give us one example on that Parasmaipadi? Like how would it be Parasmaipadi? Like for example, Pujayami or whatever.
Yeah. Pujayami is Parasmaipadi, correct?
So.
Correct. Or Pujam Karomi.
Pujam Karomi. And
Yeah.
when we say it, it should be Atmanepadi.
It need not be.
Okay.
It could be. It's your choice.
Okay.
You know, see, normally what we'll say, Ahamidam karma karishye. Karishye is what? Atmanepada.
Okay. Mm.
But you're doing it for yourself. Gayatri japam karishye yatha shakti. I'm doing it for myself. But even at home, you might say, I'm doing it for my husband, my whole family, for the whole jagat. It's no problem.
Okay.
You can do Parasmaipada too. But a priest, when you have given him sankalpa and say, please do it on our behalf, he says Atmanepada, trouble.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
Okay. Thank you, Swamiji.
Okay. And again, the modern priests may not know all this grammar. They might do anything. But this is how we need to understand. This kartravyapraya kriya phale needs to be understood in this manner.
Okay.
That when it is done purely for oneself, Atmanepada. If it includes one more fellow, Parasmaipada.
Okay. It's clear, Swamiji. Thank you.
Okay. So you can see Sheshat Kartari Parasmaipadam. So whichever dhatus did not get Atmanepada, for all of them you add parasmaipada. Therefore, this becomes what? Like the catch-all. But if this is all, then why do you have next sutra? Anuparabhyam kriñaha. What it's saying? When you have the upasarga, anu or para, then kri dhatu should take what? Should take, parasmaipada. Because even if the karma is an only for yourself, it should still take parasmaipada. So it becomes an apavada to kartru abhipraye kriya phale. We don't need to look at all this, okay? You can. All I'm trying to say to you is what? Main rule is what should take Atmanepada. Because they are a small set. Whatever doesn't is not specifically planned for Atmanepada endings should take parasmaipada endings. But there are some places where you think you should take Atmanepada, but they have to take parasmaipada. Those exceptions are story here from 1379 up to 1393 are all going to be what? And there may be some negations also within that. All this is the matter for where will parasmaipada come, where will it get negated. That much is this adhikara. Okay? And this will go hand in hand with dhatupatha. Whether it's varita, anudatta, all that will come from dhatupatha. This sutra will tell you what to do with that information. And once you know this much, then I'm saying anytime we should be technically able to say whether it be parasmaipada or atmanepada. This background, when you look at any dhatu, so if I took edha vriddhau, so this edha vriddhau is what? This is dhatu. Let's look at information. What does it say? Meaning is given. Atmanepadi, right? It didn't say why, but you will know why. Because it has to follow the rules. When we'll take Atmanepadi, it is anudatta gnitaha. So the it letter, edha, this will be anudatta. That's why it's taking Atmanepada. Like this, for every single thing you'll find. So let's say now I try to find this dhatu like puny. See, pung pavane, which gana is this now? First gana. Ninth gana we want, right? To take this dhatu. Now, what will it find? What will you find? You will find what is the gana it belongs to? Ninth gana, kriyadi. What is the sub gana it belongs to? Pwadi. So it will show you which gana it belongs to. Now, what do I do with this pwadi? I don't know what pwadi does for me. If you don't know, you can't do much. But then, given this fellow has given so much of, facility here for us, we can always go and say, go to Sutra Patha and look for what? See that? Pwadinam hrasvaha. You go there, you will know what happens. Pu ityemadinam hrasvo bhavati when shiti parataha. When a shit pratyaya follows. Shna is a shit pratyaya. Right? Therefore, you will get that. Similarly, there's a luadi, if you remember. So if I look for now, luadi, luadibhyaha. See this? Luadibhyaha. One sutra sitting here. I go and look. What does it say? It says, this for these, luadibhyaha kim bhavati nishtataha naha. What does it mean? So now, suppose you had lunj dhatu and you're trying to make a past participle. Trying to make a past participle. What will you add? Ta pratyaya. Ta pratyaya. It should become luta. It becomes luna. Why? because of this. If it's luadi, that ta will become na. Like this, the rules will kick in. So I'm saying, when you look at dhatu, you see, does it belong to subganas? This is how you get to know a dhatu more. And you will remember a few rules here and there. Okay, slowly it'll build up. No need to, compress everything in 1 minute. It'll happen in time. So these are all, they just fall in place here and there. You will see 10 examples, then you'll remember. Like I told you, punati. So ninth gana, wherever you find there is rasva happening, it must be puadi gana. So like this, you will be able to gather more. Right? Almost time. So I hope you got some feel for, how dhatupatha is and how the parasmaipada, Atmanepada, adhikara works. Every adhikara is like this. You will find a few important sutras, and the rest will be all the details, which we normally don't want to get into. Even if you get into, you will forget in 5 days. But you should not forget what? Nyat will take Atmanepada, Kartavyupraya, Kriyaphale. Nyat will take Atmanepada, definite. If it is Bhava Karma, it will take Atmanepada, definite. Right? And everything else will take Parasmaipada. If I remember 4 rules, 80% of the job is done. That's how we go. And if you are curious, you want to find out more, go fishing around. Okay. So this is one section. Now, next time, I'm thinking we will start looking at what is this thing called sandhi. So sandhi, though we use the word sandhi, in Panini you will not find the word sandhi. It is called samhta. What is it called? Samhita. What does samhita mean? Panini himself will define. The closest proximity between 2 letters is called samhita. Parasannikarsha samhita. Sannikarsha is closeness, proximity. How close? So close you can't get closer. You can't get closer. That is called samhita. And we have 3 adhikaras called samhitayam. One which will cover swarasandhi predominantly, one which will cover vyanjanas, and third will cover the situations where there's a compounding happening. Okay. So, and within the samhita adhikara, you will find why na will become na, why sha will become sha. These things will be there. So I told you last time, I want to do natvam. So that, you know when this na business happens, very simple. 2 or 3 rules, 80% is done. We'll take care of them next time. Okay. So that is the intention that we will look into. We will begin with that. See, till the end of Feb, basically till now, next week is 15th, then 22nd, right? 2 classes. After that, you will get some holiday for some time because I have to go to Rishikesh, and Shivaratri will come in between. I think Shivaratri will knock out one Brihadaranyaka class probably. So we will see what can be done. So we will introduce at least Samhita, then we will take it forward as we go. Okay? Any questions? Yes, Deepthi.
Pranam Swamiji. This is regarding Sutra number 1319, where you had, it was Viparabhyam Jehe.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know, how do we know whether it's a Panchami Ekavachanam and why not it is Shashti Ekavachanam?
That possibilities are always there. You follow what the parampara tells you. That's the best you can do. In general, I will tell you something. If you knew you're looking at what adhikara? Atmanepada. What are you interested in? What comes after a dhatu? I told you, even the dhatu, bhuvadaya dhatavaha, that itself should have been going all the way in this. That would make a lot more sense. So dhatoho, you convert dhatavaha to dhatoho. So dhatu is going all the way. So you want something going after dhatu. Better take panchami. Which dhatu? G. Therefore, J will panchami. Common sense in that context. That's what we do. Without the context, you can't make any guesses. You'll be in trouble. But with the context, you can make a guess. And finally, what? First time when you look, always don't be smart. Look at what parampara has to say. Follow the parampara. Only Sutrakara can tell you what he intends in the sutra. Nobody else can really. Therefore, you follow the Sutrakara's teaching, which is coming in the parampara. That Prathamavritti book is excellent for this job. You just look, it will tell you what is the Padacheda and what is the case and number for each one. And additionally, it will tell you what is samasa for each word. That's very helpful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. See, the only thing is there, what you won't know is this. How you can't use dhatu ji directly. You should remember, ikstipau dhatu nirdeshau. We added ik or stip. Then it'll still be G, it should become G, G, J, hey, something happens there. We have to look at it like that. But I'm saying that kind of question is more likely because we will not know what's going on sometimes. But given that I know it's all about dhatus, I know stha will stand for stha dhatu, G will stand for G dhatu. What he's doing is all for dhatus. Okay? That's why I said, I looked in my Sutrapatha. I remember this very well, that bhuvadaya dhatavaha is going up to 93, not 13. It's very well done. This is why the editors for Sutrapathas are very important for us. They can make or break your understanding sometimes. Yes, Mahita.
Namaste, Swamiji. Swamiji, in this Sutra 1362, Purvavat Sanaha, is this applicable only for San Pratyaya or Sanadi?
Okay. What you mean is Sanadyanta. Right? That best thing to do is what? Go and look this now. Okay? Because I just took it as it came and said, right? You may be right. It may extend further. So what do? We just go here and we look. 1, 3, 62. Right? So what does it say now? Atidesha Sutra. Right? Purvat Sanaha. What is the vritti? Sanaha purvaha yo dhatuha atmanepadi tadvat sanantat atmanepadam bhavati. It's not sanadyanta, it's sananta only. Okay? And the examples you see, they're all sun alone. So stick only to sun. Don't go further in this case. That's the way you check it out. Nothing else?
One more question.
Yeah.
So we took the Adanta Dhatus of 10th Gana, like Katha, and we did Atto something.
Ato lopaha.
But let's say we didn't have to do all of that. Katha plus Nich would give Kathe plus Shap plus Tip. That would also give Kathayati, right?
But why would you not add niche? Give me a reason.
No. You are adding niche,
Then?
but you're not doing the lopa. I mean, even if we avoided the lopa, because in my mind, before knowing this rule also, I thought Kathayati just comes by the existing rules that I know.
No. How?
Why? Because
will it happen?
Katha plus E will be Guna, Kathe.
Wait. When you add niche has got some characteristics.
But
right?
it can't do anything to Katha, no?
Achonyati, why it can't apply? I mean, we have to play with it and see, okay? All I'm trying to say to you is this. All rules have to be looked at. Just because I don't apply some rule doesn't mean they don't apply. Whatever rules apply, have to apply. In fact, atolopa has to be applied. So it's there. Ardhatu ke atolopa has to apply. You can't just say I won't do it. And after that, you will be forced to think why I can't do kathayati. That's when the other paribhasha will walk in.
Yeah, that was clear.
Yeah. So point is this. See, many a time it will look like eco energy is applying, but there will be some other sutra applying to get the job done. There are some 4 yan sutras. So we may think it's working, but what we think is not right. Okay.
Thank
Yes, Malti.
Swamiji, this ato lopaha, is
Uh-huh.
it for the final at or the penultimate at? The final, so the final at drops, isn't it? That is when katha becomes kat.
Kat. Correct. Correct.
And when we add e, it becomes kati, and then with shap, it becomes katayati.
Ha. Correct.
So what happens to the upada at? It doesn't become kat?
It doesn't become kat because of sthani udbhava. The which we dropped, by atolopaha will appear to be sitting when you try to do atha upadhayaha. It will be sitting there. Therefore, atha upadhayaha will see katha. It won't see kat. It will not see that akara as having gone away. It will appear that that which was dropped is still sitting sthani vat.
No, but what about the upada at?
That's why I'm telling you. If the final is still sitting, upadha is thakara, not akara anymore.
Ah, okay. Fine.
This is the whole mechanism is to cheat there. One sutra sees as though I is still sitting there.
Okay, so much.
Did it make sense?
Yeah, understood.
And your question about which akara will go, final or not, that depends on what? When you say atolopaha, ataha is 6.1.
Yeah.
Right? And it is in chapter 6.4. Angasya adhikara is there. So angasya ataha. Ataha angasya means adantasya angasya. Right? And which one? Antyasya alaha. Alontyasya vidhi you have to apply.
Okay.
You keep all the paribhashas in view, you will find you have to apply tadanta vidhi, then you have to apply the alontya vidhi. You cannot but drop anything except the final at.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so much.
Get it?
Yeah.
See, I'm not getting into every detail and probably we haven't done enough exercise for you to remember all of it. But that's the way it will work. Final at and all will go.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will do a prayer and then if people still have questions, I'll take. So anybody who wants to leave can then leave. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Now I'll take any more questions you may have. So Harsha, I'll answer your question from last time now, since there are no other questions, okay? So the question you asked was Matup. What? Mat to what? What is it? Are there rules when ma will become va? Correct. That was your question. Answer to that question is several sutras. Okay, but I will tell you the main thing here. Either if makara is the last letter or the upadha or avarna is the last letter or the upadha. 4 possibilities now. Ma is the last letter or ma is the penultimate. Avarna is the last letter or avarna is the penultimate. If this condition is satisfied, mat will become vat. This is the main rule. Okay, so you look at, so no, is it give me 1 second. didn't add up. Something else may be there. Just give me a second, okay? Yeah, that's the one. Madhupadhayashcha matur vaha ayavadibhyah. That's the sutra, main sutra. But that's not the only one. The 8 to 9, 8 to 10, I think up to 15. Let me check my sutra patha. Yeah, 8 to 9, it'll go up to 15 or 16. So all those rules up to 8 to 16 will cover this question that you asked. But among them, the most heavily used one would be this, Madhupadhayashcha. And if we look here, it is, look at the English translation right away. For the ma of the affix mat is substituted va if the anga ends in makara or a, that's why it's avarna, or if these are in the penultimate positions, but not after yava. So this is the basic rule. So you will find the examples will go based on that. If you look at the examples, vrikshavan, a ending, plakshavan, a ending, khatvavan, a ending, malavan, a ending, mala. This is all for avarnanta, right? We'll start here actually. Makaranta first. Kim, kimvan, sham, shamvan. Then makara is the penultimate, makara upada. Shamivan, Lakshmivan. You heard that word, Lakshmivan, Tadimivan. These are all for makara upada. Then avarnanta, ending in a or a. Vrikshavan, Plakshavan, Khatvavan, Malavan. Then avarna is upadha. Payasvan, Paya, that ya after yakara. Yashasvan, Bhasvan. These are the examples. So other examples, don't worry, because they're telling you the counter examples, which we are not interested in. So that is the main rule. Then you have other rules also. I said, Jayaha means what? Jayantat uttarasya matur vaha ityaya madesho bhavati. What is Jai now? What is Jai? You should remember now. Maheshwara Sutra. Jabhan, Khadadash, Jabagadadash, Kapachata, Kapai. So what does it mean now? See, Jabhan, fourth of the class, right? Fourth, third, second, first is Jai, correct? Because Jabha, Jaban, Ghadadash, Jabagadash, Kapachatata, Chatatau, Shai, Kapai, up to Kapai. Then siblings, the sibilants will start. Therefore, 4, 3, 2, 1. If 4, 3, 2, 1 consonants are the end, then Matup will become 1. Another important rule. So his example, you see now, what's his example? The example is Agnichitwan, Agnichit, Takara, Vidyutwan, Marutwan, Drishadwan, etc. So this is what is the next sutra. Then you go further, you will find Sangyayam. Sangyayam means what? Sangya means there's it's not necessarily proper noun, but Sangya. So for example, you're talking of a river which has snakes, ahi. Then it won't be ahi mat, it'll become ahivati. A forest with monkeys, kapivati, rishivati, munivati. That muni, kapi, rishi, etc. are called sangyas here. It should have been kapivati, munivati. The dirgha is happening because of some sandhi rule. Okay? So another rule. So like this, if you want to understand the whole scope, you have to look at all sutras in the world. There'll be 4 or 5 of them. But I'm saying that jai and that ma upadha, ma ending, avarna upadha, avarna ending. If you take these two, probably 70 to 90% will get covered. The rest will be all some. Now you can think of all words, you know, and see whether these rules fit in. If you find one which doesn't, go look in that section. You will find other answers. Okay, is that clear?
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So these are small things, but see one rule. I couldn't remember it offhand when you asked me last time. But if you ask me Lakshmi, I'll remember Lakshmi 1. Why Lakshmi 1, I can't remember. Because that's gone into the head and it's not exactly remembered the rule at times. But good to have the rule in your head. So only thing there is madhupadhat. That mat is makara. That's where samasa is important. It is makarascha avarnascha ma. Mam actually. Neuter. Mam. Then tasmat mat. This is how prathama vritti will give you samasa. So mat and mat upadha, which means when ma or avarna is the last or it is the penultimate, then the matup will become makara in matup will become vakara. Why makara? Why not the last? Because fifth case is involved. Therefore, you have to remember the paribhasha. So we have alontyasya, right? Then nicha. Then we have anekalshit sarvasya. And then one more rule. What is that? When you have a rule in Panchami, not coming to my head straight away.
Purvadehe pare.
Hmm?
Purvadehe pare.
Is that the sutra? Purvadehe? That doesn't look like the sutra to me offhand. We'll
The
find.
second option. Purvadehe pare.
Could be. As I said, I can't remember it offhand, so I'm just checking once, okay?
Adehe parasya.
Adehe parasya. That's the one. Adehe parasya. Correct. When you tell me, I'll remember immediately, but offhand it wasn't coming. So because once we go that section, you can't miss it. Once you're sitting here now, we know it is in this section. Where is that? Not this. Adehe parasya. That's the one. So alontyasya nicha adehe parasya. But adehe parasya is sutra which will apply here. Therefore, instead of takara going, the makara of matu will become vakara. First letter. Adehe. So to solve any problem, you have to remember too many things. But if you can remember a lot of things, then this will fall in place. Okay. Anything else? We call it a day. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Oh.